Powder coating is a great way to paint Detroit River jigs. You're in for a treat today. You are going to learn how to powder coat from start to finish, and it is an awesome video with lots of great tips with Don Yaremy, who's been doing this for tons of years and learned lots of little secrets.
Powder coating is safe, odor-free, durable, and very quick drying, and you can learn to make beautiful Detroit River Walleye jigs just like these in this video. Watch and learn. As always, a like, share, subscribe is always appreciated.
So Don, you started off powder coating quite a while ago, and basically let's just show us how you started off and what you learned.
Okay, first thing I did, I got some powder coat, open it up and go, oh, this seems easy. So the first thing I used to use a candle to warm up my jigs. You can use a lighter, a candle. You can put them in the oven and preheat them. I found the best way is just a heat gun. It's a quick way of getting heat to the thing without a flame.
It's good controlled heat too, right?
Good controlled heat. You can't always do it. Like if you're on the boat and you want to do this, like a lot of tournament angles will take their jigs because they're all shiny. They don't like that. They want to keep a dull finish on it. So they'll quick powder coat their jigs right on the water. And
no, it's definitely a tournament trick that some guys use, and girls too, obviously. Lots of anglers out there, and they, are going to make the best of it, because I know personally for me, I'm an attention to detail guy, and I like to match the color of the head to the color of my bait in most circumstances.
Right. Just to make it look a little bit more natural.
For sure.
So the first time I did it, I took the paint, opened up the lid, heated it up, and stuck it in. And I look at the jig. I go, "Wow, that's all gooey and yucky." And I go, "That can't be right." So first thing I did was read the instructions, like I should have done in the first place.
Yeah, I know, Don. Sorry, just sometimes on some of the forums you get some people, and I don't agree with it, because I mean there's lots of new anglers out there, and sometimes you'll hear the term RTFM, and it's read the blank manual, and that's pretty rude in my opinion. People are trying to learn, so right. But again, always great advice to read the instructions first.
You learn by doing. That's the way you learn. So of course, that's how I learned. So what you do is you take it and you shake it up, and you want it as light and fluffy as you want. That's why they have a fluid bath, because you make that powder as light as you can, because you want a thin coat on. You don't want a heavy coat. That's the key to powder coating, is get a thin, even coat on. And when you bake it, it gets nice and hard. If you get it too thick, it gets lumpy, and you don't get a good, how can I explain it? When you bake it,
good finish, you mean?
A good finish. Well, what happens is the thicker the finish, the more heat it takes, and sometimes you won't get like the center of it's like doing a cake. If you do a thin little cake, it'll bake easier than doing a big thick cake.
Right.
And the inside is not cooked properly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, powder coating's to the same principle. You want a thin coat on, bake it, and then you get a nice even coat, and you know that's all melted. It's all good. Sometimes that powder, it'll be liquid on the outside, but on the inside it's still like a powder, and it will chip easier. So a thin coat is the best way to do it.
Yeah. So can you basically show us how you used to dip them? And
you can do this. It's not as good as baking them after you dip them, but if you want a quick, easy coat, and it's better than like a spray paint, and it's quick.
That's right.
Yeah, it's very light. Again, see, even like that, even after I shake it, see how thin it is? It's almost like a fluid, but it's starting to settle already.
Yeah.
But you take it, I'll turn my heat gun on.
And about how long do you heat that up for, Don?
I kind of watch. I always put a piece of heat shrink on my eye.
Yeah.
So I kind of watch that until I heat it up, and it also lets me know as I see that heat shrink wrapping around the eye of the jig hook.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that heat shrink later when we get into your more advanced setup.
See, like that. Dip it in, quick and easy.
And you tap off the excess there,
I
know?
tap off the excess. Again, you want it as thin as you can possibly get it. That's it.
Yeah.
Take that. I always take the heat shrink and then pop it off, and your eye's nice and clear. You don't have to get the paint out of your eye.
Yeah, no, that's fabulous. All right, Don, you're going to do some powder coating today, and you've got a pretty impressive little setup there. Looks like you got some, I don't know, PVC pipe, and you've got, I can see your heat gun and, you know, a rack and a whole bunch of different things. You got a little custom board there with some notches out of it. Can you just kind of go over a review of what you were thinking when you set up this board? Because it's pretty ingenious.
Well, I looked around when I started powder coating. Just when I first started, I took the powder coat and I used to dip it right straight into powder coat, and then I just found that you get way too thick of a coating on it, so when you bake it you get big drips in your powder coat when you're heating it up. So I did a little bit of research, looked at some YouTube videos, great place to look, and I made a little setup here.
So you call that a fluid bath? Is that what you got set up?
This is what it's called, as a fluid bath. And in this powder coating industry, where they do a lot of metals, like you can either spray it on, or they have things called a fluid bath. So what these are is this little miniature fluid baths made of ABS or PVC piping. I cut them up, little couplers. I got the...
Now, Don, I just, if you can lift that up there, I notice underneath, I'm just actually going underneath you there, you've got a little notch cut out for your PVC, which is a great idea, so you avoid spilling your powder coat all over the place, right?
It helps a little bit. Something I made up at work, and it works great. So I have different setups here. I have one, this is an aquarium pump. I just got that at a garage sale. Look around, you find them at a garage sale. This is all stuff for an aquarium. The same stuff you use for your aeration system on your aquarium.
Cool.
So if you look around at a garage sale, you'll find this stuff for next to nothing. People are trying to get rid of it. So got this stuff, got some ABS PVC piping for under $20. I made this up, whereas if you buy one of these in an aquarium pump at a place that does powder coating, they want like around $100. So
yeah, well, definitely DIY projects, do it yourself, is going to save you some money. So I noticed you got some valves on there too. What's the deal with the valves there?
Well, the valves control, like I'll have different colors when I'm doing multicolored powder coating. I'll have different colors in everything.
In
so
the PVC, right?
So if I multi-dip, or I'll show you how to do multicolors quick and easy without airbrushing it. There are airbrushes available for powder coat, but I just found a quicker and easier way of doing this for no cost at all. Basically, just use a paintbrush, and I'll show you how to do it later on.
Yeah, exactly. And those valves there, just to clarify, so that controls the amount of air going in. Because
yes, I have little valves on here which I can turn up or down to control the volume of air going into the powder coat. I also have a valve on here that I can control how much air I get into the fluid bath. So just little things you can pick up at the plumbing store. Do it yourself stuff.
Right, and that's the key to getting the right amount of airflow, so you get
exactly.
A light coat, which we'll talk about more later. That's awesome, Don. Great ideas. So, Don, you mentioned that there were 2 valves in there, so I know that you have different purposes for those valves. Can you just clarify once again for our viewers that how you use those 2 different valves?
Well, I use this one here for on and off control, so I can turn on one color of powder coat over the other color. This here is more of a precise control where I can actually, there's different consistency sometimes in the different powder coats, so sometimes you need a little bit more air to get that right movement of the powder coat.
Exactly. Yeah.
So this is more of a fine control. This is more on and off.
Perfect. No, that explains it totally. Right now we have a bunch of powder coat in a container, and you can't really see anything moving in there right now because it's just powder sitting in it. Now when you mix some air into it, you can see that same powder now takes the form of a liquid.
This is what they call a fluid bath in powder coating. As you can see right now, there's when I move this around, that powder, it's like flour, the texture of flour isn't moving at all. When you add a little bit of air to it, it'll look like a liquid. You see how it looks like water. That's what they call a fluid bath. It's still dry, there's no water in it, but when you add the air to the powder coat, it gives you a very light coating
Don, I know with anything else you problem solve and you try to make things better and you're great at it. So I noticed something yellow on the eye there. Can you explain what you got going there?
Yeah, what it is a piece of heat shrink. The problem with powder coating for a long time is people are going, how can I get the dang paint out of the eye of my hook so I don't have to keep on tying it and doesn't make a mess and just makes it nice. So I go, oh, how can I do this? So one day I'm sitting there and I'm looking and go, what if I try a piece of heat shrink over top of the eye? And lo and behold, it worked really well. So I just stick a piece of heat shrink on there. I'll show you what I do. Pick that up.
Yeah, that's an awesome idea, Don. Just so much of a time saver.
It just came to me in my head.
So now you're taking it and you're heating it up.
Yeah, and you'll see that as I heat it up, that heat shrink kind of shrinks around the eye of the hook.
Yeah, for sure, you can see it.
And I'll take it, dip it into my powder coat, get a light coating on there, heat it till it turns to liquid.
And again, you double dip it, Don?
I generally double dip it. I don't want it too heavy of a coat on, because these still have to be baked in an oven to get them properly cured.
So that fluid bath is really the key to getting a good light coat.
Yes, it is.
And then I see you've got a nice convenient hanging rack there.
Yeah, just something I found in the around the house. It's just I use it for wrapping clothes. I take the heat shrink off while it's still warm.
Yeah.
Now your eye, see how your eye is all completely clean? You don't have to sit there and try to get the paint out of your eye.
Oh, that's super smart. What a super time-saving idea, as I mentioned earlier. And then just hang it up and then
let it dry, and then it'll be ready for baking.
Yeah, great setup you got going there too, Don, on the board and the heat gun and everything. Single color jigs are done now, so we are going to look at doing a two-tone powder-coated jig. All right, so we are starting a blue ice Detroit River jig. So Don is going to heat it up over the heat gun for about roughly 15 seconds. And is going to take it and he's putting it into a silver disco color, I believe, Don.
That's what they call it.
Yeah, so basically this is the base coat and it's a nice silver color. And then to get the blue on the back, he's going to dip a dry brush and he's going to just tap it on there. And it's already hot, so it's going to somewhat stick as it's going on. And get a nice coat on there. And then just kind of heat that up. And again, it's already relatively hot. So you can see the basis of the blue ice color there. And Don, are you dipping that once or twice in the blue, or?
Oh, all I do, I don't dip it in the blue. I just take the brush and.
Oh, that's right. But yeah,
put it on there.
The blue dip, absolutely.
That's it.
And there you go, it's that quick. To bake the jigs, just basically use an old toaster oven that is dedicated to baking jigs. And this one has a preheat feature, which you can use to preheat the oven for 5 minutes. Bake the jigs for 15 minutes at 350 degrees. The jigs should not be touching on the rack. Be careful about that. And it's a good idea to keep an eye on the jigs while they're baking, just to make sure you don't get any dripping. So we've got some pre-made eyes put onto the jigs, Don. So how do you kind of seal them in there?
I find that if I warm it up, put the heat gun on, and just put a little bit of heat to them, it kind of helps seal the powder coat to the eye and the adhesive of the eye better.
And that's basically it, right?
Right, I got that. I take a little nail. I got a nail a little bit smaller diameter. Just kind of wiggle it around in there. Yeah. And that's it.
Yeah, just while it's hot. Great idea, as always. Well done, Don. When using powder coat, or this is called powder paint here, generally one dip is good because it's thicker than what you would have with the fluid bath. Here we go. Here's the finished product of Detroit River Walleye Jigs. As always, if you found this video helpful, a like, share, subscribe is always appreciated. See you at the next video. Very, very special thank you to Don Yaremy for sharing his wisdom and expertise on powder coating. Thanks again, Don.
No problem.